Alright, I think we're live. Yes, we is live. Fabulous. Anyway, how be y'all doing? I've just completely mind blanked just for a second. Anyway, starting off. Actually no, I'll do the roll call in a couple of minutes. After these two fights I'll do the roll call. But we are, what are we? Day 67, goodness gracious. Day 67 of goodness, of greatness, of fabulousness. Today has been, it's been an okay day. Highlights, which I will get into shortly. Highlights and lowlights. Highlights beat the lowlights, do they? Not in any tangible way. Just in terms of feeling way, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, welcome one, welcome all. We are, now my goal is, at the very, 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 very least, we are getting to 6,116 fights at an absolute minimum today. Which is very, very, very achievable. So achievable, in fact, that we'll probably end up getting to like 6,110. So there's, Scythius. I gotta remember it's Scythius, not Scythius. Anyway, how are you? I hope you're doing fabulously. Hope life has been treating you well, and if you have the console for it to mean anything, the Nintendo Direct, I hope was the Nintendo Direct something on your radar today? Naruto Kurama. There we are. And Nagato. There we are. Beautiful. Right, roll call. I have to do a roll call. So, today we have a delightful boysenberry ice cream. We have, beans. There we are. Also have with me a lovely cup of tea. Beautiful, gracious, and 2 giant cups of water, as we do, to wash it all down. So that is what I have with me today. And also with me is hopes and dreams and love and happiness, thanks to the Zelda trailer and the news that the new Professor Layton game is out. I'm so excited. Oh no, a war crime. A war crime in D&D. Pray do tell. Pray do tell indeed. No, and it was a good direct. It was a lot of stuff, like so much stuff got either announced or new information came out of it. Obviously, the most important being this new Zelda trailer. But no, it was a good trailer. I started at 11 p.m. 11 a.m. our time. I had a meeting at 11:30, which I had to prepare for. So I'm like, beans! I can't watch the end of it live. So I was sitting there in the meeting, like, right, come on, guys, let's go. Let's wrap this up. I've got a Nintendo Direct to go see. But no. But that was good. It was good. But no, I am ever so curious about your D&D escapades. Were you DMing? Because if you weren't DMing, then the DM let you do a war crime. Ish. Depends on the situation. Oh, sorry, I am gonna have my ice cream, so I do apologize for the, I don't even know if eating ice cream is loud, but if it is, I do apologize in advance. Cool. Oh, am I looking forward to these fights? No. It's a very anti-climactic fight. It's a great fight when the action's about 20 kilometers away. Okay, I'll screw it. I'm just gonna run in. Okay, that was a bad idea. I should have done that. Oh, come on, please. Please, Lord, have mercy on my soul. Come on, come on, you got this. There we go. Gracious me. Right, now, what did you do? So, Cleric of the Raven Queen, I like it already. Debuff a Bloody Frenzy, Harpy Queen. Shove dust of sneezing and choking down its throat. Oh, that's fantastic. That is great. I love your creativity on that one. That's fantastic. I mean, like, I was full on expecting you found like a prison camp and you just senselessly murdered everyone inside a prison camp. I was expecting that, but like, but no, I love the reality a bit more. Here we are, lovely. And I do agree, the puppet style, again, yet another, I need a counter of every time I bring up Ultimate Ninja 2. Because how they did the puppet style users in the PS2 games, like, insanely better. Insanely more practical. You feel like you're actually doing damage. There we are. Fabulous. Okay, Shikamaru. And Nagato again. So like, cause when me and the boy still hadn't me and the boy were hadn't played the proper game of D&D before, so Dad was the DM, and he had some, like, not like cruel and like a, yeah, like, you know, this isn't a game you want to make, you know, especially with him as a DM, you don't make any decisions lightly, because he'll find a way to pull it, to bring it back in the most way that will just, like, you'll be like, ah, beans, and, like, just tug at your soul. Yeah. Fighting game of Current Akamaru with unlockable characters. Why do I feel that's like one of the rare games on like the Game Boy or the DS that I never played? I think. Yes, I think. But no, they on the, at least on the PS2 games, like Kankuro and Chio, or Sasori, yeah, and even Sasori, were not nearly as stupid to play as they are in this one. So the PS2 got that one right. So the biggest instance I remember in the D&D campaign that my dad did. So traveling along, and there's a circus, and it was, oh god, what was it? It was like Sebastian's Circus of Wonders or something like that. Anyway, basically, it's a circus, and he's got like a rod of, something, but basically you're watching the show, and he's like all these animals, kind of like he's just a bit of an animal abuser a little bit. He's got this like rod thing that he like puts on them, and like it obviously hurts them or whatever. So then we end up going in the dead of night to where the circus is, freeing all the animals, basically ruining the circus is now thing because all the animals we freed them, you know. That sort of thing. Cuts to 3 sessions later. 2 instances of the repercussions of our actions came from it. Number 1 was we were in a wooded camp or something. We were in a wooded camp, and we got, so there was these other just like random people. It's kind of like a whole bunch of miners and explorers that sort of just happened to be in the same area together, so they, you know, all making camp. It's kind of just like a camp people will just come and go in. It got attacked by like a lion or something, and then so we defeat the lion. I think it ended up like killing a few people, but then when we're looking at the lion later, we see like scraps of the circus costume or whatever it had, so like, oh, there you go. You know, we set all the predatory animals free, and they've obviously done some damage, so that was great. Second one, which was the worst, was we were coming up to a town, and on the way out coming out of the town was like a man on like a horse and cart, with like his daughter in the back, and he's like, oh, adventurers, have you seen a Sebastian Sparkle was his name, I just remembered. Sebastian Sparkle Circus. And we're like, you know, and we're like, oh, no, we haven't seen it, sorry. And he's like, oh, you know, my daughter is dying of a terminal illness, and her last wish was to go see the animals at Sebastian Sparkle Circus. Yeah, so we're just really hoping that that we can find it, and we're just like, yep, sorry my friend, we can't help you. No, definitely haven't seen it. I'm sure you'll find it one day. And then we're passing, and then the daughter's like, oh, I'm so excited to go see the animals. It's all I've ever wanted to do in my life. It's, you know, and we're just like, god damn. Oh, like, and obviously, you know, at a meta level, yes, Dad's like purposely put that in to make us feel bad. But and I suppose that's the beauty of something like D&D, is that a DM can do that, make you feel like good job breaking it, hero, sort of thing, you know. Yeah, and then me and the boy, we ended up, I can't even remember, I think we had like my brother and my older sister visiting mum and dad's. So we just put on, we ended up doing a one-shot campaign. But because we were lazy, and because it was a one-shot, we didn't want to spend too much time on the, like, trying to come up with all the locations and everything. So we decided, look, we're gonna get someone else. We're gonna get some other storytellers to do the thinking for us, and we'll just slightly change the homework so it doesn't look like we copied. So our adventurers woke up in a cave. They walked out of the cave. They kill some peeps. Walk out of the cave. And end up venturing to the town of Blackwalk. In the province of Cloud Edge. They've got a Jarl called Boldenruff. Boldenruff, because we couldn't think of what's another synonym for Belgruff? Belgruff? Yeah. Balgruff. Whatever. The Jarl from in Whiterun. So basically everything we had done was just like slightly different wording for Skyrim locations. But it was great. It was a thoroughly enjoyable campaign, and we even devised a puzzle that I think we over-engineered to the point that we thought it would be really difficult for them to solve, and they ended up solving it like super easily by some flaw in the logic that we had done on how to solve the puzzles, like a pressure plate kind of one. Yeah, but I think it went well anyway. Another cheer. Oh my goodness, we are just going round and round in circles with these characters. I swear to goodness. Swear to goodly. Try to get a stream again. Ooh, that's actually a really, really neat idea. That's a neat idea. That should be pretty. So I actually, okay, I'm a bit of a nub, at least when it comes to not being like playing online sort of thing, because I've never played with any. Is it Roll20 is the website? Well, actually I haven't actually played any kind of form of online D&D, so it would be a learning experience, at least for the like the technical format, I guess, of it. But I would be down for that, like, fully. Because I'm guessing, well, would we want to like draw straws on who, or not draw straws in a bad way, on who's the DM, but if someone's like, I definitely want to DM, then, or actually if two people like, oh, we definitely want to DM, then yeah, but no, that'd actually be so cool. Oh my goodness. I'm actually already in my mind, like in the back of my head, I'm already now thinking about like, oh, what character would I do? Because, yeah. Oh, and so my dad is, because I think he prefers, I don't actually know if he prefers to DM, but he tends to DM more fights than or not more fights, more campaigns than he plays as a player. But because he was, I suppose in his old age, he doesn't like slow things. But his one biggest gripe with the 5th edition combat, also his combat in all the editions general, was when you try and picture this like actually playing out in your head, it's very stilted. Like, combat is not you stand there, swing, and the other guy dodges, and then he swings and you dodge. It's fluid. It should be fluid. So he had devised a combat system where what did he call it? He called it something. But essentially what it is, right, essentially what's going to happen is, still in the 6-second increments, but what happens is, right, everyone is going to say, initiative does come into play, but not necessarily in terms of turn order, but actually no, I'll explain what happens with the initiative afterwards. And also, I'm not at all saying that this is what that this is how we should do it, but this is just to get some. This is just more just how I remember, because I remembered it was the thing that Dad did. And what it was, so say you're in the midst of combat. Let's say the enemy has got a mage and a fighter, and you've got a mage archer. Let's just say the troll fight in Fellowship of the Ring. And let's just say there's a few more orcs sprinkled around. So, right, start of the turn. Right, archer, ranger, what are you doing? Fighter, what are you doing? Sorcerer, what are you doing? Rogue, what are you doing? And so everyone is saying, right, so they're actually like, right, I'm going to do a jump, flip, and fire an arrow at the orc over there. Sorcerer's going to be like, I'm going to fire off magic missile. Fighter's going to be like, I'm going to dual katana, like do like an Anakin Count Dooku decapitation kind of move, sort of thing. And then obviously the enemies are going to do what they do. So then what it is all this stuff happens all at once. Like, everything fires off at the same time. And actually no, and that's where initiative comes into it, in that if the archer has the highest initiative, his arrows are going to fire first. Like, kind of like he's just faster to get it off than the others. So his arrows, let's say an arrow, archer and a sorcerer fire their stuff at the same time, the archer's he's gonna let loose the arrows faster than the mage is gonna cast the thing. It's just that sort of thing. It's, yeah, the DM can kind of be a bit sort of work out how it actually works. But essentially what it is everything fires off. So you might suddenly have it that the fighter has a higher initiative. Actually no, ranger has a higher initiative, ends up killing an orc. Let's say he rolls a nat 20, or critical 20, and his arrows end up killing 2 orcs, and including the same orc that the fighter was going to kill. So now what happens is, that orc drops, and then the fighter goes to like slash, and let's say they do a 2, and might stumble over the body of the orc, and then meanwhile the magic missiles are now going to fire off into the wall. Like, it's that sort of thing. And he awards advantage based on how cool it would be. Like, if you do the coolest, like, it would be sick if, like, let's say I'm like next to a pillar and I'd like do like a run up the pillar and a backflip, and then in mid-air backflip, then I loose my arrows, like something like that. If you're like, you envision it in your mind and you're like, that would look sick, then you get advantage on it. And it's like, it's that sort of thing. It's to be like, he wanted it to be, combat happens a lot faster, it's more dynamic, you've got more, like, the fighter has more things to potentially worry about than just the person that's standing in front of him. And you're now having to do a lot more synergies with your team. and you can do some cool stuff with your team, and also it's like a bit of you're allowed to have a bit of creativity in it as well, and you know, the more creative the better, to be honest. But like, because he had one thing, and what it let him do is, like, he said he was DMing a session and it had a sorcerer and a wizard, or maybe it was 2 sorcerers, or it was 2 wizards. Anyway, 2 spellcasters anyway. And they did, one of them did Burning Hands, and the other did some wind attack. Can't remember exactly what it was. In a normal combat scenario, what would have happened is the person doing Burning Hands does Burning Hands, whatever, and then the other person who's got like the lowest initiatives then gonna go last, so they do their attack. What ended up happening was they did them together, because then what happened was and I think they must have rolled high rolls, but they did like the attacks kind of like comboed together, and the wind like propelled the flames like further out and like completely just like annihilated all of the enemies that were in like otherwise out of reach of the Burning Hands, because the wind just helped propel it forward, I guess. And they ended up like wiping out like 3 enemies just with lucky damage rolls, and like that sort of thing is like, you can do that because everything's happening at the same time as it would like in an actual combat situation. So anyway, so his one of his mates says he's got to write all the, you know, the guidelines out, and make it like a PDF and sell it for $1 on Amazon or something. No, just that, like, yeah, I don't know why. Anyway, not saying we'd be doing that. Just completely just crossed my mind. But no. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. Yes, I would be happy to try and do a streamer game. Nakurama. Uta kata. Oh, you've even got something similar. Oh, there you go. I'd imagine it would be probably something that a lot of people would kind of would think, like it's they're probably all trying to solve a similar kind of problem. Or they're trying to solve the same problem, but all in their own different way. Yeah, because I think Dad's biggest thing was, just the speed of combat. He's like, if you actually try and envision what that would look like in real time in your head, why is it just so, everything's just so stilted? It's like, combat doesn't work like that in real life, you know, just trying to make it a bit more dynamic and have a bit of creativity. Because, I mean, like, the amount of times you'll just be like, you know, the poor fighters are like, I swing my axe at his head. And then miss, okay. And then the ranger's like, I fire an arrow at him. Miss, okay. Like, all that sort of thing, you know. But then, I don't know, just, yeah, the team, he found that in all the sessions that he's done it, people were like, you know, thinking about what they could do, and there's, you know, you just allowed a little bit of freedom, like a little bit of creative license, at least, and especially on the DM's part of, you know, where should the line be drawn, at least in terms of what you can and can't do. But that's sort of the DM anyway. There, you know, the DM to some meta level, the DM and players need to work together to make it enjoyable. You know, it's like, I think we tried a campaign with, include they had Mum in it, and she was just trying to outthink Dad every time. She was trying to like guess what he was trying to do as a DM. And he's like, stop trying to overanalyze what I'm doing. Just enjoy the game. And she's like, no. She's like, you only did that because you want us to do this. He's like, just play the game, for God's sake. Goodness. so that campaign ended up fizzling out because Mum was trying to overanalyze why Dad was putting certain NPCs there or why Dad was doing this, but she's like, she's like, that is so wrong, you're trying to do this, and Dad's like, oh my god, for goodness sake, woman, it's all good. But anyway, yeah, at the end of the day, you have fun, you have a laugh, and just, yeah, I think the thing I like about the most about D&D is just the homebrew stuff, to be honest. I don't think I would ever create it if I had to create my own campaign. I don't think I would ever do one that's not homebrew, like fully. And when I mean that, like, I would obviously have some, I'll have some elements from the official rules and stuff. I'd have some elements there, like, okay, sure, kobolds, I'll have them there. But I'm gonna make my own little things here and there. I did have one idea which never saw fruition because, again, just trying to completely have every single possible detail mapped out before it even started. But I had this idea of, basic premise is your characters get teleported somewhere, and it's basically the teleported to this land. It's not a huge, not like, I suppose it's the size of maybe half a Skyrim. I even think it's Skyrim at probably half of that. Anyway, long story short is they can't leave this land until this giant demon overlord that is being summoned by like a warlock, whatever, is defeated, because there's like a special magic barrier or something that completely encompasses. Think of the dome in the Simpsons film, something like that essentially, but like it's not just a town, it's like land sized. Anyway, so basically, moral of the story is you got a city right in the middle of this basin. At the top of the big evil tower in the middle is the demon summoning ritual, and you have like 2 months or 3 months or something to defeat the warlock god. And basically, if you went to the city straight away, you would get absolutely annihilated because it is just guards and demons and everything as far as the eye could see. So you can't just waltz in and have it and start blasting. So, as part of my grand vision would be, depending on the interests of the people playing, there's like three ways that you can achieve the goal. One is, if you absolutely dig combat, you are just, I want to be in fights for days, then you take a combat approach, which is, you can go around to the smaller little settlements, do your side quests. It'll be there's ways to make it a very combat heavy quest. Plan for lots of encounters, and eventually you would fight your way through the main capital city to the top of the tower and defeat the demon thing, whatever. Cool. If you are more of I prefer the NPC interactions, there would be ways to go around to all the towns, glean information from people, and eventually find a way, maybe even culminating in you talking down the big bad guys and then getting the demon to go away using the power of the spoken word. Third one, and my personal favourite, and the one that I would just put thousands of hours into planning, you puzzle it out. And basically, you'd have another option where you find out that around this land would be like 8 like temple dungeon kind of things. Now I'm thinking, I think it's probably where my Zelda influence coming in. But you would have in each. So basically, what you do is you'd go into each of these puzzle dungeons, essentially. There'd be puzzle dungeons, I think, based off each element. So there'd be a fire one and a water one and a whatever. And then you do the dungeon, and then at the end of the dungeon you like unlock some orb, whatever. And once you collect all orbs, you go to some special shrine and you do a ritual, and basically you kind of expel the demon energy from this land through some Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. So that playthrough would be for all the people who love puzzles, and all different kinds of puzzles. So there'll be, you know, in the dungeons there might be like a room where you actually have to fight something, or one where you have to, I don't know, the whole room is just one giant like gelatinous cube, and you have to like fight your way through it, or somehow get through the gelatinous cube to get to the other side. Puzzly stuff like that. So in each dungeon there would be 8 dungeons. I think I like 10 puzzles each. So like I had to come up with 80 puzzles, all like themed around the particular element that the dungeon was. So I had that. I love that idea. So if you're not particularly sort of combat-y and you're not particularly NPC, then just do the puzzle route. It was great. So that was my grand vision. Of course I beelined straight for designing the puzzles because that was the bit that interested me, and did not finish them at all, and that is where that dream died. And it never saw the light of day after that. But that was my grand vision for a D&D campaign. Yeah, and again, my problem is in fact with most things in my life, I start off far too ambitiously. Far too ambitious for my own good, and it always backfires. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous. Speaking of puzzles, oh my goodness. Reminds me, at the end Nintendo Direct they announced there was like no gameplay or anything like that, but the Professor Layton game, and my heart exploded because literally like a month ago they were saying something like the level 5 studio had been bought by someone, or no, it hadn't been bought, it had been, something had been renewed on it or whatever, but basically the implication being that we might see more level 5 games or games or projects or remasters or something. And then they announced a Professor Layton game at the Nintendo Direct. My heart sung. It was beautiful. Professor Layton games are like my favourite puzzle games ever. They are just absolutely fantastic. And for anyone who loves puzzles, my god. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean in terms of the going straight to the world building, to the world building and the class building and things like that. Like, that's just, ooh, I dig lore. I love lore stuff, so I just want to just beeline straight to that. And it's like, okay, well, how is it actually going to work mechanically, and you know, how you gonna allow yourself room to improvise? And you're just like, I didn't think about that yet. Just give me time, jeez. Goodness. I've picked the wrong Madara. So I better correct that. Correct that before I go. Oh, Dark Puzzle Game Series. Pray do tell. I'll be curious to see if it's one have or haven't played. So then again, as much as I love puzzle games, I can't say I've played. What ones have I played? Definitely Professor Layton. Again, it's what the. Oh my god. Oh my. Have you played those games? All 3 of them? Cause, my god. I could go on about those games for days. For days. So basically what happened was when I had my DS emulator on my laptop, I downloaded 999, played it for like, I think I finished the first room, and then got a little bit further, I stopped, I'm like, okay, whatevs. Then when I saw the Nonary games on, I think it was on PlayStation, but that's right, I never actually finished that game, you know, let's give it another go. What? How did I not, I cursed myself for not having continued the first time, because my god, holy hell, what a game, what a series, just what a everything. It is just I love intricate stories, clever time loops, clever philosophical, scientific things, foreshadowings, callbacks, escape rooms. It has it all. It has everything. And it was just, oh my lord, I lost my mind. And then, boom, straight onto the second one, lost my mind again. I was like, my god. And then I'm like, okay, is there more? I need more, give me more. And then I'm like, oh, Zero Time Dilemma. Let's go. Let's do this. Give me more. It played that. That was dark. Holy hell. And then it finished. I'm like, please. You can't tell me that that's the last one. You can't. I need more. I need more. God damn. And then, because then I found out that Zero Time Dilemma wasn't even, it was, at one point wasn't even going to be made just because of the game, or the series wasn't particularly selling as well as they would like, so they were like, and then, okay, I guess we'll do one more, and I'm just like, guys, can you do just 20 more? 3,000 more? I will play them all. So yes, I have played all 3. I have indeed. I'm guessing you have as well. Just, you're the first person I've ever met that's actually played them. Oh, they make me happy. They are just, they're just beautiful. They are amazing. They're gorgeous. The poor boy, I try and because he's not a puzzle game enthusiast like me. And so I'm just like, can I just tell you just about it all? And he's like, sure. As just the classic case of him just sitting there, just zoning out watching TV while I'm just going this big heartfelt rave about the story and how the story's so amazing and trying to explain it to him, and he's just like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'm like, you don't understand. It's better than cool. It's clever. It's just like the bit in the first game. And for anyone who's listening that hasn't played them and wants to play them, I'm not gonna spoil anything because those twists and turns you have to experience purely blind. Because my god. But just the bit in the first game at the end where you're in the, all I'll say is when you're in the incinerator, and just the whole revelation about that, the whole revelation that unfolds from when you're in the incinerator. It was just amazing. Anyway, before my heart bursts through my chest, gotta calm myself down. Zen. Zen, inner peace. But anyway, I would thoroughly, wholeheartedly agree. Um, yeah, zero escape games. Like, now anything Spike Chunsoft does. So, like, I think because I didn't realize Danganronpa was done by Spike Chunsoft, I'm like, okay, boom, done. Give this to me now. And then there's, they actually got another game, which was at the Direct, Master Detective Archives. But so it's like another, like, murder mystery game, but it's like supernatural stuff, and I'm just like, yes, give me this goodness, like, straight onto my wish list straight away. But yeah. Oh, Trials 1. Have I recovered? I'd say I'm about like 90% recovered. I'm still kind of just like reeling about just how quickly everything goes downhill. Like, it was within the span of 10 minutes. Everything's good. And then 10 minutes later, everything's really not good. And I think the bit that probably just threw me for the loop the most was just how abrupt the credits hit. Like, that I was expecting. So, like, take that ending. And what I would have expected to happen was, or, you know, what would traditionally have happened was, you know, Team Rocket's blasting off again. Then it would have cut back to the friends, and it would have been, you know, you would have seen them, and maybe, I don't know, shows the big Gundam robot sort of stepping towards them, and, you know, sort of fades, and then it maybe fades over to, you know, the teachers, or the instructors, should I say, what they're doing, you know, have they survived, and it sort of just fades to all these little vignettes of the various players, you know, the various actors in the stage play, seeing what's happening all over the place, and then maybe like a little, you know, Reen voiceover saying blah blah blah, and then fade into credits. Not Team Rocket's blasting off again, boom, credits. I think that's probably what threw me for the hardest loop. And I love, and I live, and it is amazing, and they had balls, and my god, did it pay off, because my god, holy hell. Yeah. So yeah, so about 90% recovered, I think. I mean, so I was thinking yesterday is, so tomorrow, because I'm gonna try and finish Mystical Ninja. Gonna finish Mystical Ninja. If I finish that within 3 hours, I might start East 1, because I do want to get through all the East series. But then on Saturday, because also at the same time, I want to give myself a good, decent chunk of time to get properly into Trails 2. Or Cold Steel 2, should I say. So, yeah. But, yeah. No, you're just like, sorry, excuse me, what? Like, excuse me, hello? Excuse me, like, what? Yeah. Oh, Insevo, hello! Welcome. You've caught us discussing the bombshell from Monday night, or your Sunday morning? Monday? The time. The amazingness that was the last stream. But no, Inseva, how are you doing? I hope your day has been fabulous. I hope life has been treating you well. Okay, I'm gonna do some ultimates, because 10-10's rubbish otherwise. Oh, come on. Oh, you're still a bit sick? Oh. As long as it's getting better. But no, I hope it's not too bad, or you haven't been hit too badly. Oh, I know, yeah. The boy's like that as well. When he gets hit, he's down for ages. Oh, gutting. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Shake it off soon. I would say, so I say eat lots of ice cream. Full on knowing that that actually doesn't help. So I'll say drink lots of water. Eat lots of dry toast. Apparently that's meant to help or something. And yeah. Three months? Oh my goodness. God damn. Was it like a flu? I mean, but also at the same time, like, holy hell, your immune system. Like, full. What's your secret? True. True. I tend to have that philosophy as well. You know, because I know that I had a friend who was maybe germaphobe might be a little bit of a over exaggeration. So she was extremely clean, medication, hand sanitizer, like every 10 seconds. It was just like crazy. She was as fragile as a piece of china. It was anything could just send her reeling. And I kind of just had this feeling that I feel like it's, you know, cleanliness is great, but too much of it, if you're not giving your immune system some dirt to, you know, digest, you're also not doing yourself any favors. And also is because the boy is the same. He never takes medicine. My dad's the same, I think. Is he the same? No, my dad's not the same. Boy is, but there's lots of guys that I know who don't take medicine. Is it a guy thing? Like, is it a guy thing to not want to take medicine? And I don't mean that at all in a bad way at all. But it's just, you know, is it just one of those things that just dudes tend to, I don't know, just tend to not do? Come on. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah. I have this, I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, I imagine it's a, maybe not necessarily an ego thing as such, but just a stoic, like, I'm strong, I got this, like, not like a weaknesses for babies, but you know, medicines for girls. But I don't know. It's just, it's just one of those things that you men and women are wired differently. It's just a fact of life, and it's just one of the wires that men have is just wait it out. I got this, it'll pass, and my body will be all the more stronger for it kind of mentality. Which I fully, wholeheartedly value the merit of, but I'm just too much of a wuss to, no, a wuss is the wrong word. When I get sick, I just want it to go as fast as possible. And if a Panadol or a Neuramol or blah 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 or whatever, if they'll help, will help. But also, we've tended in recent years to take, like, you just get boiling water, lemon juice, and honey. And we just tend to just scull that when we get sick. And it actually helps pretty decently. It's actually pretty good. Fabulous. Oh my god, excuse me. Okay. Now we got Onoki and Kimimaro. And I just realised I haven't even updated the list yet in ages, so I'm gonna do that. What are we at? We are at 58. 6, 1, 5, 8. Lovely jubbly. Lovely. Oh, we also, that's right, I remember I had a, is it a rematch? Oh, beans. Had a, what's the word? Deep debate about the hard-hitting topics of life, with my, work colleague this morning. No, this morning? Afternoon. About game pre-orders. And so I was telling him about the Nintendo Direct and how I'm going to pre-order Zelda. And he's like, oh, do you pre-order games? I'm like, yeah, of course I pre-order games. Like, do you not pre-order games? He's like, no, I never pre-order games because, you don't know if they're going to be rubbish or not. And I'm like, well, okay, fair point, I guess. But, I know I'm going to love Zelda, and I know I'm going to love FF16, and I know I'm going to love FF7 Rebirth. So when that pre-order comes out, I'll be pre-ordering. And, so of course I'm going to pre-order because I'm getting it and I'm playing it. Like, I'm not... if it's a game, I'll pre-order a game that I know I will unconditionally love, like it was a child. And so we were just having like this big discussion about whether, you know, pre-order, just the nature of pre-ordering, or, you know, knowing that you're gonna like a game before you've even played it, because he seems to be of the school of thought that, you know, let's just take FF16 because that's the one I'm more excited for. You know, you've never played it. You know what you've seen and what the gameplay looks like, but you don't know if you're going to enjoy it. So, you know, why pre-order it? I'm like, well, I'm going to be buying it one way or the other. You know, whether I pre-order or not, I'm still going to pay the money to do it. I would just like to have a copy on day one. But just, yeah, for some reason he's not against pre-ordering, but he just never does it, because I think he's like too skeptical of games. I'm like, is there like no games that you're super excited for, like that you just will always get? And I think it's because he's been bitten by games that he's bought just straight away, day one, not even looking into it, just be like, yes, this game will just undoubtedly be great and I'm gonna get it straight away. And then he's been Phantom Menaced, where you know, you're playing it and you're so, I wanted this to be good so much, and you're in denial about the fact that you actually aren't enjoying it as much as you hoping, and you're just fighting with yourself to admit to yourself that that's the case. So I think he's had that happen, and therefore I'm never pre-ordering. You know, game of solo, it's an online game. Fair. Yeah, true. I'll do that, because at least like because me and the boy, we started playing Destiny 2. We only started playing it probably last month, and even then, like, we're not even playing it that much. It's more so story stuff, because we're far more story than we are playing PvP for the sake of PvP, or playing online for the sake of it being with other people. We're loners like that. But we feel like, this is something we should have been playing from the start, because we've missed out on so much, and we feel kind of behind the curve on a lot of things. Yeah, so I can agree with that mindset if it's an online game. Yeah, playing it straight away when people will be playing it, and being part of that, yeah. Yeah, I'd say for me, there's relatively few games, at least now, that I will get day one. And for me to get a game day one, and even to take day off work for it, it needs to be like at least for me, the cream of the crop. It needs to be something truly special for it to do that. And in which case, for this year, it is Zelda, FF16, and soon to be FF7 Rebirth. Like, those are the three that I'm getting non-negotiable. If my leave got declined at work, don't care. I'll just eat some half-eaten, half-cooked chicken the night before, so I don't have to go to work, because it is not negotiable. I'm playing that game fully. Yeah. But then other games, like, I used to be quite, I wouldn't say quite bad, it's the wrong word. I would just buy games day one. You know, games that I was like a little bit interested in, just buy them straight away day one. And I'm like, there's actually a lot of these I would have happily waited even for them to go on sale for. So I'm less, I find in my age, far more reserved when it comes to collected and calm when it comes to buying games when they get released. because the other thing, which then sort of segueing onto like collector's editions, like, do you think that collector's editions tend to be worth the money? Or even do you even get collector's editions at all for anything? Would there be anything that you'd even get a collector's edition for? Yeah. Like, so need of a connection, need one for it physically, and faith in the series, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking, you know, like, let's say, I don't know, example, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I'm gonna get that game. Like, I'm really excited for that game. Fallen Order was fantastic. And, you know, in a past life, I would have probably gotten it day one. But now I'm thinking, I can wait, actually. I can wait. Yeah. Whereas something like FF16 or Zelda, like, you know, when they're two of my top 3 favorite franchises of all time, like, it's par for the course that I'm getting them. Oh, you're a rebuyer. Oh. Wait, how did he do that? That's actually a really good way to put it, actually. Yeah. Yeah, like, you know what game? You were bloody enjoyable. I'm gonna, you know, take more of my money. You know, fair. Yeah, because I mean, the only game that I've got 2 copies of is, actually, yeah, the only game I've got 2 copies of is, Dragon Quest 11. Because that killed me so much when the OG game released in the West, and then like a year later they're like, oh, and by the way, here's the super duper edition with all the stuff that Japan got straight away. So I'm just like, I've now got to buy 2 copies. Oh my goodness. Oh my giddy aunt. I've just got, I don't know why, I've just got this, I wouldn't say, like, I have this hesitance to have 2 copies of the same game, like a digital and a physical. Couldn't do it. I have the 1 copy on whatever, you know, physical if possible, just so we can put it on the shelf. But, like, for some reason, I just can't bring myself to have 2 copies. Yeah, so mixed bag stuff. Minimum of half, yeah. Because that's my other thing too, is that sometimes, like, and especially pins, like, I don't have anything, like, what do people use the pins for? Because you always get pins in a collector's edition. Like, what do people use those for? But yeah, but it'll be the things like, you know, art books, steel books, cloth maps, and in the super deluxe editions you'll get some statue or replica from something in the game. Like, we got the last one we got was, again, non-negotiable for the boy, the God of War Ragnarok collector's edition. So we've got the Mjolnir that came with it. It's actually a pretty decent replica. Has it got it within reach? No. But yeah, no, I agree that, like, if the things in there are cool, then you'll buy it. But otherwise, yeah. God damn. And Kushina. And Yukito. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, no fair actually. That'd be that would be. Cause have I done something similar? No, no. I think the only other times, that's right. Times that I will rebuy a game is if the version I'm buying is, how do I say this without sounding like a nub? Screw it, I'll go full noob. FF10. Fantastic game. Easily one in my top 10. Masterclass storytelling. I was so rubbish at the end game and grinding and the sphere grid and everything. I was so rubbish at it that I'm like, this is difficult. This is very difficult. And for some reason, I just found it extremely difficult. Screwed myself out of getting one of Auron's easy to get overdrives because I forgot that there was a sphere in Besaid. Go back to Besaid when I got the airship. Oh, Dark Shiva fight. Can't win that one with my thing. Locked myself out of getting a cool overdrive for Auron. Hated myself for it. So I bought, and this was on the PS2 as well. Ended up getting the Steam version, and I will full disclose it, and I know that I will be outcast from the village. But I enabled one cheat just once, and all it was 99 items, and that was it. And then I got my 99 items and I disabled it because all I needed to do was craft the triple overdrive to AP abilities on arena weapons, and then grind in the calm lands, and you get like 50 sphere grid levels per fight. That was me. And I did that. And then I finally was able to beat Braska's final Aeon. Because I did that. And that's the only reason I'd rebuy something. Because if the version I'm going to get helps me beat the game, because I was too nub to finish it the first time. I rip the easy mode hard. Like hard. Especially if it's a game that I'm more interested in the story than I am the gameplay as such. Like I'm playing it because I'm deeply invested in the story, not because I want to worry about grinding. Because now that reminds me of a particular, because there was a, I don't know if it, I don't even know if it was a, I've got no awareness of whether something was a big topic or not on the interwebs at the time, but there was like the conversation, I think it was even when I think it was probably around the time that Elden Ring came out, but there was the conversation about should Souls-like games, not even necessarily Souls-like games, but just games that are difficult, like Returnal, all the Souls-likes, Nioh, whatever, should games like that have an easy mode, or just some way to make it hashtag more accessible to people who aren't into hard games for the nature of being hard. And there's this big, I don't even, well then again I can't even say if it was a big debate. I just know there was a debate about it, on whether that is the, you know, let Dark Souls be Dark Souls without making it, you know, dark but the lights on in the background Souls. You know, dark but there's a light switch you can flick on Souls. Or trying to make games like that more accessible. Because, like, take Elden Ring as the example. I dig the lore of that game. Dig it. And the only way I know the lore of that game is because I've looked up on the wiki about, read about it and watched like the VRTvidya stuff on YouTube. Won't play that game, can't play it to save my life. I'm sure if I gave myself about 10 years I'd be good enough to finish it, but I don't have 10 years to play it because I've got other things to do. So, you know, so I would, on one hand, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, give me an easy mode of that game and sure, I'll give it a go. But at the same time, I'm like, actually no. If that game's whole shtick is to be a Souls-like, just let it be a Souls-like. It doesn't need, not every single game has to be, easy to finish. Some games are hard, some games are easy. Just play the ones that you can finish. Like, when it comes to that whole debate around easy modes, should games have an easy mode, or should there just be one difficulty mode, as it was back in the day? And if you can beat it, you can beat it, and if you can't, just get good. Track tradition. There we go. Thank you. Oh, come on. The game is story focused, have more than one difficulty. Yeah. Yeah, because that's my... But then I suppose, like, yeah... Yeah, because I mean, so like, if I take the Dark Souls series, I know the lore of that game. I wouldn't say I'm like super duper can riff every single fact of it off my head, but I know a decent amount about that lore because I just find it so interesting. I watched all the VRTvidya lore videos. It's the same with Bloodborne. That one I probably know could riff a lot of stuff off the top of my head for. Because I'm just but couldn't play it to save my life. But then I think to myself, would I want it to be easy? Would it be the same? Is the nature of that game is the nature of that game and the fact that it's difficult, if you took the difficulty out, you know, but left obviously left the story completely unchanged, would it be the same? Or would it? Yeah, I don't know. Because part of me really wishes, really wishes that part of me really wishes that I don't know. It's like a yes no situation in my head on it. Yeah. Come on. Oh my goodness. Oh come on, stop jumping around. There we go. Lovely. Oh, PC Tech Gamers, what up? I would if I could, but oh my goodness, excuse me. I can't, so I shan't. The days, like yeah, I won't go through the whole preamble. I need like a script when I go through the preamble, but I won't give you the whole preamble. But essentially, these streams don't tend to be like play with viewers, going on online ranked matches sort of thing. It's I've got a mission. I've got a mission to do. I mean, at this point, because I haven't updated the list, at this point, I'm on a mission to do 6,140 fights, and I ain't got time to do online ranked matches. But that does not mean that at some point in the future I won't. Or that doesn't mean that I won't do online ranked matches at some point in the future. Jubbly. And I realised I'm fully behind time. Am I fully behind time? I am fully behind time. So what's this, number 57? 55? Yeah. Let's see if he's going to be a nub again. Yes. There we go, lovely. Surprised that that actually hit. But okay, I'll take it. Oh, now, I don't want to assume not, but does either of you, or does anyone, have a successful vegetable garden growing? Because if so, and you actively take part in the tending of your vegetables, I need some advice on watering. Because I fear I am overdoing it, but at the same time, I don't know if I am. and I'm worried for my plants' health and their life, especially my lettuces. So we put up. Oh my lordy, that is fine. That is all good. I'm like, basically, oh, am I gonna lose this one? I'm fully gonna lose this fight, aren't I? Am I fully gonna lose it? Oh, no, no, I'm not. Whoa. Essentially, okay. Put up a vegetable garden at the weekend. Super sunny. Sunny as all hell. Water my plants. And then I check back the next day. Forgot to water them in the morning. They're like dead. No, they're not dead. They're just like lying collapsed on the soil. So I'm like, okay, put some more water on. And then I put even more water on. And then I check the next day and they're like white. Like there's like leaves that are white. And I'm just like, what have I done? I didn't even know you could get white leaves from watering. So anyway, so I'm having a crisis. And all the articles that I'm finding of how to know if you're overwatering your plants is just to say, actually no, they're not even any help. All I want is just for some gardener on some website to say, if you've got broccoli, water it over a week, water it on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday at these times in the morning, and if you're in a colder or warmer climate, adjust it just this way accordingly, and give me the super specifics. Give me the most specific, like, full-on instructions. Yeah, because if I, at this rate, if I can even just get one plant, I planted 12, 6 broccoli, 6 lettuce, if I could even get one of those, I'd be happy. The rate I'm going, I mean, it's only been like 2 days. Well, no, what's today? Friday, Thursday. It's been 4 days. Because we planted on Monday. Oh, it was Monday we planted them. 4 days. So we'll see how I go. We'll see how I go. Oh, and also, super quickly, which I might actually no, I'll say when I do my little spiel at the end of the stream. Saturday, I will be streaming a bit earlier than normal. Which I might even do like first thing in the morning. Because we'll be going out for dinner on Saturday night. And it'll be like 9 o'clock by the time we get back. So doing like a 9 till midnight stream. Probably be asleep by the time the stream finishes. So be streaming early in the morning. But I also want to get it at a time that wouldn't be too ungodly as well. Oh, one more. Oh, come on. One more. Oh. Bab. we are at 60, okay. So we're not too bad. I'll update the list after this fight. Because we'll be at... Where are we at? 6136. Beauty. Okay. What are we? 6136. Fabuloso. Shikamaru. And Tobirama. At least today's mix of characters, we're getting a good mix. Although the start of the stream was a bit ropey. Oh, come on. Dang. Did that whole combo take him down all that way? Bloody hell. Fabulous. Okay. Oh, goodness. That's right, so yesterday I was treated to the glory of old school RPGs, specifically like CRPGs, how you can fully soft lock yourself, like fully, like not soft lock in the traditional sense, but you've basically just put yourself into a complete no-win situation. And thank God, I had Bull's voice in my head, like, thank God for having multiple saves, because otherwise I would have completely had to start the game from scratch. So I was playing, what did I finish? I finished Planescape Torment. So I'm like, I've got this thing for old school CRPGs, like Baldur's Gate, that sort of thing. And I'd heard that Planescape Torment was really, really good, so I played it. I got to the end, the final dungeon of the game. There's like there's a portal to get there, and once you go in, then you're in. That's it. You're not out till you beat the final boss. I'd play like a very mage heavy one. Played on lower difficulty, so I wasn't at all, because it's all D&D rules, I wasn't at all close to level 20. I think about level 14. But anyway, still extremely weak. And I'd buffed up my intelligence and wisdom. Yeah, intelligence and wisdom, so you know, great. Had bug rule healing items, which was okay, which was fine. Great. Go through the portal to this final dungeon. All my party members are gone, in the sense that we've all been split up in this big fortress. So you go to like the main body of the fortress, and basically the whole goal is there's in this room, there's 4 devices that you have to get to. Whoa. Four devices that you have to get to, and every time you pull one, it cuts away to one of your party members and they get killed. Essentially. All ties into the theme of the game. And in this room, there's like these shadow things, and I was so weak that I had no hope of even killing one of them by myself. So I was literally just gapping it across this room, left, right, and centre, to try and get to all these devices. But then I noticed, okay, well, every time I get aggroed or an enemy sees me, I completely lose control of my character, and I cannot control him and get him to run away. And it happened every single time, and I'm like, don't tell me that these enemies cast like a berserk spell on you or something that I've just got literally no hope in beating. And that's it, practically like softlock myself. So do some digging, and then I realised stupidly that this amazing dagger that I'd equipped on myself before the dungeon was cursed and causes an auto berserk on you every time you enter a battle encounter. And the only way to remove it is with a remove curse spell or scroll, neither of which I had, so that was it. Whatever. Thank God I had a save to the room just before we teleport away to this fortress, before I had equipped the dagger. So fabulous. Reload that save. Don't equip the dagger, just avoid it completely. Jump back in. Gorgeous. We're golden. You know, takes me a couple of runs to get through this room fast enough for these things not to catch me. Well, they mobbed me a couple of times, so I've just got to spam healing items because I went back and bought healing items. You know, eventually get through this room, you know, do these 4 thingies, go and fight someone else, which is an easy fight. Basically just stand in a corner and spam all my spells. Managed to do that, not a problem. And then there's a big dialogue heavy room where you just gotta try and you meet like past versions of yourself and you're chatting to them and blah blah blah. Anyway, do all that, fabulous. Get my intelligence and my wisdom up. And we're away. We're off to the final room. So we get there and there's the final boss. And essentially, you find out that there's 3 ways for this game to end. One is you kill the final boss in a combat encounter. Second one is you merge with it. You fuse with it, and that's an ending. And you can talk them into doing that. And then the third one is something. Can't remember. Oh no, you stab you kill yourself. Try and think of an internet friendly word for that. Anyway, you delete yourself. And so I go, I'm like, great, I'm gonna just talk it into merging with me. I'm gonna avoid combat entirely. It's gonna be fabulous. So you're doing the whole dialogue tree and you're like going through all the options and you're like, okay, I'm not coming up with anything. What's going on? Like, where's this dialogue thing? And then I exhausted every single thing on that tree. The only options I had was the combat encounter, and I was so weak. I couldn't even beat one little piddly guy in the room before me. How the hell am I going? I can't beat the final boss. He casts these insane spells that are just like, you've got no hope. So I'm like, I've just fully put myself into a no-win situation. But how? Why is it not giving me the bit to merge? So then I Google box, and you find out, okay, you need an intelligence or wisdom of 24. Either like intelligence or wisdom has to be, one of them has to be at 24. I was at 23 on my intelligence. I was furious. I was like, for God's sake, so close yet so far. Or way back in like Act 1 of the game, there's like as part of the main quest, you've got to find like a little sphere for someone. If you had looked at the sphere when you took it back to him, you'll have learnt your true name, and that knowledge convinces this thing to merge with you. So I hadn't done that because I didn't even realise you could do that, so that avenue's gone. Or you get the Blade of the Immortal, and you threaten to stab yourself with it, and this thing, because basically this thing is like, your character's immortal, and this thing is your mortality given form, and you have to try and convince it to, it's weird, it's complicated, it gets very philosophical, but anyway, so this Blade of the Immortal, you need to, threaten to stab yourself with it, because it's the only blade that can kill an immortal being, and I'm like, what the hell's the Blade of the Immortal? Like, did I miss a treasure chest or something in this dungeon? No. It's an optional side quest that you can get to, again, way back in like Act 3 or 4. Sorry. Excuse me. I can feel that one coming a mile off. Anyway. So there's a completely optional place that you can go to, and you have to talk to one person in a marketplace and pick an exact dialogue option to get him to tell you how to get into this other place. So again, completely random. Probably gonna miss it unless you're exhausting every single dialogue tree on every single NPC. And then you talk to this big robot dude, and he forges this blade for you. So I'm like, okay, so there's literally was no possible way for me to get out of that final boss fight, or final boss without a fight. So thank the Lord, thank the heavens above, I had a save file back from when I entered this big fortress thing, and I could go run all the way to where I needed to go and talk to the NPC and do all the bloody things and get the bloody blade, and then hoof it all the way back, go through the fortress again, which actually was better the second time, and then go up to the final boss and then do it, because the only way for me to finish that game on that save file, the only possible situation I put myself in, was this Blade of the Immortal route. There was no other possible way. Oh, there probably would have been if I'd tried, but for me to finish the game. So I did it, and it was, yep, it was great. The game was actually fantastic. In like a what way? Like, it was good. Like the story and the lore and all that was great. But it's just a solemn reminder that in those old school Baldur's Gate things, you can fully unknowingly put yourself into between a giant rock and the hardest place ever without even realizing you're doing it. You've got absolutely no idea, and it's just like it's intended for you to prepare like no tomorrow for anything, every possibility you need to prepare for. So anyway, so now I've finished that, still technically got Baldur's Gate 2 to finish, but then also Icewind Dale, which I believe tends to be a more combat heavy game anyway, but now, at least when it comes to items and just scour every single place for every possible quest that you might come across, because you never know when you're going to miss something that is literally the one thing that stands between you and finishing the game. Oh, come on. Ow. Great, lovely. Right, we got young Shikamaru and Sasuke last. Yeah, because I can't remember. I think that's probably the only game I can think of that I fully made it unwinnable. No, I lie. That's not. I completely, I guess you could call it save lock. Save lock yourself in there's a Tomb Raider game on the PS2. I think I mentioned it last stream, or the... Yeah, no, I think I mentioned it on the bit where we were talking about, like, creepy bits in games. And the way that saves worked in that game was when you save, you can save anywhere, at any time, and where you save is literally the exact game state that you saved it in. So if you're in combat with someone and you save, when you load it, you'll be in exactly the same spot, in exactly the same state, in exactly the same everything. It just loads everything exactly how it was. Which means that when you're like playing it as a young kid and you decide to... your muscle memory works against you. You jump off a ledge, which you will die when you hit the ground because you just jumped off a ledge into nothing. You're just going to splat on the ground. You then jump off the ledge and then in mid-air, pause the game, go and load it, end up saving the game instead. And then you're like, oh, beans. So then you load the game and, yeah, you load it in mid-air and then you just fall and splat. And then you load it again and you just load in mid-air and fall and splat. And luckily I was only probably maybe a couple of hours into the game. But I'd literally save locked, I guess you can call it. Save locked myself into completely unwinnable situation. But it just makes me think, why even do that? Like, why make that a feature? Why not just load them at the next bit where Lara's standing on solid ground? It just seemed like such an odd choice. And I'm sure I can't have been the only person to have played that game and saved it in the most stupid place. Oh, Kingbomb22, thank you so much for the follow. It's much appreciated. And yeah, so you can softlock yourself in Persona. How can you do that? Is that got something to do with the like the it's not a time limit, is it? It's just like a calendar year, and certain things happen on certain days. One thing I've got to do is just gotta, before I can get the game's gonna pause for a little bit. I'm just gonna open up this program which should update the latest. There we go, lovely. Who was I just playing as? Young Kakashi. Oh yeah. Is there like a bad ending where you don't? So like if you just completely just I'm guessing again, I haven't played it, so I can only guess off after the little bits here and there that I've seen. I'm guessing you can oh it does cause a bad ending? Alright. That would just give me I'll just have anxiety. I'll be like, oh god. Oh no, time's ticking down. Ah, beans. Oh, really? Oh goodness. I'm guessing if you just playing it casually, you would have to really, would you have to try to really screw it up? Because at least if the game makes it not necessarily like super difficult, but if the game at least gives you enough tools to at least, you know, 80% of the 90% of the time to do it, then that's alright. I have to okay. Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, just see the bad endings. Bad endings. Right, come on. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, because I think... I don't think you can you... Oh... I don't know if in Lightning Returns, the FF13 3, but Lightning Returns, I don't know if you can softlock yourself as such, but I know that the time limit in that game was weird in that you've got like, you start off with like, I know, the end of the world's going to happen in 7 days, and when do you... and it was going to happen in 7 days, and you have to help people. You help people do stuff, and they give you points. And as you get points, the kind of you're extending the time limit out. So if you don't do any side stuff, if you don't do any side quests at all, you're not gonna. Basically, you might extend the world out a day by doing the by a day, but then if basically the whole point is you have to extend the time limit out to 13 days, because of course it's 13, and then because if you extend it out to the 13th day, then the final dungeon unlocks and you can go and beat the final boss. But if you don't, then the world ends prematurely and you can't do what you need to do. Something like that anyway. But yeah, but it was like, you know, you could slow down time, and it gave the illusion that you would really struggle to get things done, which to some degree it could have been. But then they gave you ability that you just spend like time points or something, and you can just slow time down fully, which gave you heaps of time. But yeah, I just found it like I don't know. Yeah, it didn't feel suited, or it felt like I don't know, like especially for an FF where you want to take your time, you know, side stuff galore, and yeah, it didn't feel suited. I can see why at least that game in particular was the black sheep out of the black sheep of the franchise. A black sheep that I think is still warm and cuddly, and I love it. But yeah, like it was a decent game, I guess. It had the longest finishing ending cutscene completely. It was like 20 minutes long. It was crazy. But hey. I'm trying to think other games I've soft locked. Can't remember any. Nothing that you couldn't just get out with grinding. Yeah, I find more people dislike 15 than like it. Which, like, I agree. I loved 15. I was a sobbing mess on the floor at the end of it. I was at mum and dad's house as well, and I had to try and like hide myself because I was playing in the living room, and I had to kind of like hope that they weren't around as I was just like wailing into my arm. No, I thought it was a fantastic game. Like really, really good. And when you like, I don't know, I could go on for ages about the themes of that game and the whole point of it being 4 bros on a road trip. It's, yeah, I think made that just so much better. Anyway, I could go on about 15 for ages. Yeah, 13 is one of those games that I personally really, really like it. I prefer 13-2 because it felt more, I guess you could say it was far less linear right from the start. It got very complicated. If you aren't like laser focused on the story, it can get very complicated very quickly, and you're just like, wait, so who to what? What's going on again? But yeah, I always loved it. I can fully understand all criticisms of the 13 trilogy. Fully get why people don't like it. Fully understand that, yeah, it, you know, coming from the highs of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the highs of the rest of the franchise was a bit of a, like a where? Like a where? Yeah. Yeah, the whole controversy of 15, like, ugh, like, what do you mean this male-led cast? I'm like, as a woman, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't want to get too much into gender politics, but I thought I wouldn't have had it any other way. That game, for what they were trying to do, and the way that they wanted, the themes that they were trying to go for in that story, and the dynamic that they wanted the team to have, it wouldn't have worked if it wasn't the 4 dudes. It just wouldn't have worked the same way at all. At all. So I am so, like, it's perfect the way it is. Yeah, exactly. They've got no problem thirsting over Tifa, you know, Fran. Give me Village Full of Vieras any day. You know, yeah, give me Tifa. Give me, you know, Lulu's looking smoking end from 10. You know, all of that sort of stuff. Not a problem with that, but you know, let's just have 4 dudes who appeal to every kind of thirst. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, they've only got like three chicks in it, you know, and I mean, one of them technically in your party for a little bit, like as a guest, I guess. But yeah. Oh, just people. Just people. Yeah, because they had Cindy, they had Iris. I want to say Iris, but so it's Iris. Obviously they had Luna Freya. rest in peace. They had Aranea, the dragoon lady. She was pretty cool. She was actually pretty rockin'. You know, they had all the stuff, but oh no, because the four mains are dudes. Tisk. Ugh, I say. Yeah, Luna Freya, the priestess. Aranea, the dragoon lady who's with the Empire. I'm trying to think, was that actually it? Oh no, they're Gentiana. I think that might actually be who you mean with the priestess. Or no, maybe not. The Gentiana who was the Luna Freya's like attendant with like she always had her eyes closed. I actually loved her outfit. I digged her outfit. She was hot. And I'm pretty sure, I'm so sure there was someone else. Nah, I think that was it. Was that it? I feel like there was more. But anyway, long story short, I still love that game. It is fabulous. It is perfect. Ending was just made me bawl my eyes out, and what? It was just great. And Arden, I think the biggest failing of that game, or the biggest thing that they did wrong, was rip the story out and put it into like all these other things. Kingsglaive, I went to actually watch that at the cinemas. By far the best way to watch that film. Yeah, it's got problems, but do I care? Not really. Don't particularly mind. But then you've got the anime, you've got all the DLCs. Arden is an absolutely fantastic villain. Like, his whole story and lore and everything about him, beautiful. Fantastic. Amazing. Such a shame you don't actually get half of that until his DLC, and even then there's gaps missing. Yeah. Yeah, no, I rate that game so much. So much. I know I've got a friend who's loves Final Fantasies. Won't play that game because it's like he thinks Final Fantasy shouldn't be like filling up your car at a petrol station isn't particularly Final Fantasy to him, which I can fully understand. I can understand that as a criticism fully. I think that's a lot of people's criticism. You know, great, we're gonna go fill up our car at the petrol station. Woo! But I love it. All the criticism just, it hits me. I'm like, oh yeah, tastes a little bit salty, but I just let the wave wash over me. Yeah. Yeah, but at least I hope they've learned, if anything, I hope that, they've sort of learnt their lessons, I guess, with how 15 and possibly even 13 didn't do so well. And 16 is its own complete story. All the laws in there. Sure, have a DLC if you want, but make it a complete side story. Doesn't, might give a little bit of lore detail on a part of it. Might make an aspect of the main story richer, but not crucial to understand the main story. So as long as they've got that, then they'll be winning. Just like bruh, Square Enix, everyone digs and loves 10 and 12 and 8, 9, 10, no, 7, 8, 9. Just do that. Just do that. Do what you're doing. Can't lose. Kankuro. And Naruto Kurama. Okay, this will be my last fight, I believe, for today. Oh yeah, and the last thing, because again, every time I start talking about 16, the possibilities of it, I go on the wildest, longest tangents. Last thing I'll say on it, and probably one of the things I'm most excited for, is Square Enix does CG cutscenes, specifically action-heavy CG cutscenes. They are the single most beautiful thing ever put to screen. They just know how to do flashy fight scenes. They just somehow just know how to make a good looking, fully rendered CG fight scene just look beautiful. And that is what I'm most excited for, is the cutscenes that await us in 16. What have we got? What is going to come our way? What is going to be the most beautifully looking, gorgeous particle effect purples and blues and reds and pinks and greens and colours and anyway, I will, before I keep going for another hour, I'll stop it there, because it is time for me to depart for this evening. Yes, time for me to depart. So, as I said, call it a day there. Tomorrow will be, I'm going to finish Mystical Ninja, and then probably start on East 1. And then Saturday, which will be an earlier stream, we're going to start on Trails of Cold Steel 2, because good lordy, I'm so excited to start on that one. And then Sunday will be day 68 of this. And yeah, that'll be me. So no. Thank you for joining me once again. It is fabulous to have your company. Hope you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you is in the world today. Stay rested, stay well, stay hydrated, stay fresh, stay fruity, stay safe. The world is just, it's a bit of a shambles at the moment. Just everything going along. We've got apparently, quote, the most serious storm in the last century coming to the North Island of New Zealand. Not to mention the other atrocities going on in the world. So stay safe, stay well, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a great one, and bye.